Hey guys, welcome back everybody. Today we are going to discuss about the floating static rod. It's a very important feature of the static rod. So let's understand the first what is the requirement of the static rod. Let's take example. We have router number one, and then we have a connectivity to the ISP over there. ISP has some route. Take example, it has a 8.0.0.0, and this link is a 12.1, and this link is a 12.2. We can call this guy the 10.1.12.0/24 subnet. So whatever the users are sitting behind this guy, right? So they can send the traffic to the 8.8.8 network via this particular link. So they can send the request via this particular link and they can get the reply from this particular link, right? Take example, what happened if this link goes down, right? So in that case, this user cannot send the traffic to this particular subnet, right? Because there is no path to reach this guy. So to avoid this problem, right, what happened? We have introduced the another backup link. I said, okay, let's introduce another backup link over there. Let me add the another link and I'll put the IP address for this guy's a 13.1 or 13.3 over there. And this guy's going to use the summary is a 10.1.12.0/24. So what I'm going to, not 12, let's go with the 13. So what I'm saying that, this is my backup link. I just introduced this for the backup purpose. So I'll make this guy the 2 Mbps link. And this is the 5 meg link, right? So what I want, all my traffic will go via the 5 meg link. And when this link is not available somehow, right, then my traffic will go by the 13.0/24. So all my primary path always could be the 5 Mbps link, and my secondary path will be the 2 Mbps link. But the problem is what? When you give the static route, normally when you give the static route, I say the IP route, right? And I say that 8.0.0.0.0.0. I put the slash 20 slash 8 over here, and then I put the next hop is the 13.3, and then again I set the IP route 8.0.0.0.0.0 slash 8, and then I put the next hop is 12.2. So either you can use the exit interface or either you can use the next hop. So normally when I put this command, what happened? Router will create the routing table. It's had a 8.0.0.0.0.0 as for the static. Then you have a 1, that's my AD value. And then we have a 0. Static route does not use the concept of metric. That's why you always set to 0. And the next hop will be 13.3 and 12.2. So in routing table, what happened? Both the route will be present. So if any packet, right? So take example, if this PC will send any packet to the 8.8.8, right? What happened in that case? This is the source and destination. What happened in that case? The packet comes to the router will look up the routing table, and based on that, it will perform the load balancing. It will send the data traffic to 13.3 and 12.2 as well, depend on the what load balancing algorithm is present. So by default, it's the per destination. So another type of load balancing, we have a per packet. So by default, what happened? The router will do the load balancing. But try to understand, I'm not denying it that load balancing is a bad. See, sometimes some situation like load balancing is not good. For example, this situation, right? Because this is my 5 Mbps link, I want to send all my traffic with the 5 Mbps link because this is the 2 Mbps link, right? So take example, if you have a UDP based traffic, the UDP based traffic is a what? UDP based traffic is always a delay sensitive traffic like a voice and video. So if I'm going to send the, if I'm going to do the load balancing for the UDP based traffic, then what happen? Some packet will go slow bandwidth and some packet will go by the fast bandwidth, right? So on the receiving end, right, on the receiving end, what happened? We need to reordering the packets. And sometimes you face the jitter as well or delay too, right? So to avoid this problem, right, what I can do that, I don't want to do the load balancing over there. I'm going to make this guy, hey, listen, always choose the 12.2 as a best path, right? If the 12.2 is not present, then traffic will go by the 10.3. So in that case, what you can do that, I just gonna increase the AD value for this particular route. By default, the AD value for the static route is 1 in the Cisco iOS router. So what I can do that, I'll just gonna give the option over the 5 over there. So by default is 1 over there. So in that case, what happened? This route will be not there in the routing table. So the packet will go by the 12.2. So if the 12.2 is somehow not present, then what happened? This will be removed from the routing table and 13.3 comes in the picture. Again, what happened if this guy comes back? Then what happened? This will be removed and 12.2 will be comes back over here. So that's the main purpose of floating static route. The meaning is saying the floating. Floating is what? The backup path always will be floated. If primary is not there, backup comes in the picture. If the primary is there, backup always will behave like a backup. So very basic configuration we have, you can see that we just need to increase the AD value for the backup path. That's all. So if you see, this is my topology I already have, and I don't have a console. Let me take a console. So this is router number one, and this is the router number two we have. So subnet data I'm using between the router and router three. Sorry, router and router two. Oh, come on. My GNS is a bit slow, little bit. So I have a 12 R2, and let's go with the R1 as well. Okay, so multiple R1, R2. 1 minute, let me close it. R1, let's close this guy as well. So if you check the right now, so IP interface brief, you can see that I have a this interface 0/0 is the 12.1 and 0/1 is a 13.1. At the same time, if you go in the router number two, so IP interface brief, right? I have a basic configuration 0/0, we have a 12.2 and 13.32 as well. Better to let me write this configuration in the notepad so that you know if you guys don't gonna do the lab, you can just follow the notepad. So on the router number one on the 0/0, I just put the IP interface 12.1, no shut. And then we have another interface, we have 0/1, that's 13.1 and no shut. Then after that, we have router number two as well, router number two interface 0/0, IP address will be 12.2 and interface loop, sorry, interface 0/1, I have a 13.2 and then we have another loop back over here, interface loop back number. Let's go with the 8.8.8. Remember, loop back has a logical interface. It doesn't have any MAC address and no need to give the no shutdown command. I'll make a one video for the loop back interface as well. So already IP is configured. So what I can do that now, I'll do the static route configuration on the router number one. Let me do the separate. On router one, I have IP root 8.0.0.0.0/8 and next hop will be 12.2. IP root 8.0.0.0 and /8 and next hop will be 13.3. So if I'm going to put this command, then what happened? Okay, it should be 13.2. If I'm going to put this command on the router number one, if you debug, enable it, let me enable the debug and let's see the behavior in the background as well. I'm going to install both the router in my routing table. So if you see, I have 8.0.0/8 via the 12.2, static AD is a 1 and matrix is a 0. Same way, I'm installing the 8.0.0.13.2, static is 1, that's a AD value, or we can call as a preference as well. Okay, and then we have a matrix is 0. So right now, by default, I'm installing both the router in my routing table, right? So it's doing the load balancing, right? So that's I don't want, because this is my, if you see the top one is a 2 Mbps link, blank link over there, 13.0, and the bottom link we have 12.0 subnet, it's a 10 meg. So I don't want to do the load balancing over there. So what I can do that, I'll make this guy as a best one, the 10 Mbps link. So I'll simply go on the router, I'll say that 8.0.0.0 and I'll make this guy as a 13.2 and put the question mark. If you see, I have over there distance matrix for this router. Okay, so you can use the any AD values from 1 to 255. It's a 8-bit number, and the AD is a local to the router. Local to the router means what? If you change on the router number one, it won't affect to the router number two. So it's only present router. Even doesn't matter if you're doing the static routing and any dynamic routing protocol. So if you're changing on the router number one, it only impact to the router number one. So it's a local to the router. Don't use the 8255. If you're going to use the 8255, that route will become the unknown route. So take example, if any route, right, that is coming with the AD value, for example, this is the router we have, and this router is coming with the AD value 255, then router cannot install this route. Router will consider this route as an unknown route. So you can use the AD from 1 to 254. Now, which AD can I use over there? So you can use any AD, but always recommendation is what? use the AD that is not used for some other routing protocol. For example, EAGRP internal AD is a 90. I'm talking about the Cisco IS perspective, guys. Okay, EAGRP internal AD is 90, external is 170. Same example, OSPF has a 1110, BGP has a EBGP has a 20, and IBGP has a 200. RIP has the 120. So don't use the any reserved AD value. So I can use the 11. I don't think so. It's reserved for the any other routing protocol, and have a look over there. So if you see now what happened, I'm going to delete this route from the routing table. The reason is that I made this guy as a 1180. So as we know that only best route are present in the routing table. So of course, one route we have over there right now in my routing table as a 8.0.0.0.0 as a AD is a 11, another 8.0.0.0 with the AD is 1. So of course, I'm gonna make this guy as a preference, right? Lower AD is always preferred. Lower AD is always preferred. Right? So if you check on the routing table right now, do show IP route, static, and I have a 1202 right now. So if I'm going to send the traffic, all my traffic will go by the 1202. All done? So take example, if the primary goes down 0/0, if the 0/0 goes down right now, we have a single route in my routing table, and that has a AD is 1, right? Via the next of 1202, which is the primary path. If the primary goes down, come on. I'm going to remove this route from the routing table. And what I'm doing that, you can see this debug right now. I'm adding the backup path, AD11. So do show IP route, static, I have 11.0. So all my traffic now will go by the, if you're going to make a tree start, all my traffic will go by the 13.3, 13.2. Same way, if my backup comes up, take example, if I say the no shutdown, let me up this backup path, then what happened? My this route 8.0.0 with the 1180 will be removed from the routing table. So if you see the do show IP route static, it's gone. So now the primary present. So backup automatically will remove from the routing table once the primary will be there. So that's called as a floating static route. In the floating static route, what happened? The backup path always will be there, right? But it cannot be a part of the routing table, right? If your primary is working fine. If your primary goes down, then the backup comes in the picture. But both will be part of the running config. That's a very important. So if you see the running config, both will be other part of the running config. Can you see that? So but in a routing table, only this will be there because of the lower AD, right? I'll show you one more thing. Like take example, if I'm gonna give the static route as a 9.0.0.0, and I'll give the subnet mask like a /8. Next up, I'll give this guy as a 12.2. And take example, if I'm going to give the AD values 254, the route will be taken by the router, and we will install this route in my routing table with the AD 254, right? Do show IP route. If you see static, I have this route, right? But what happened if I'm going to give this command as a 255 now? It won't take. It will remove this route from the routing table. So now if you see the do show IP route is static, if you can see that, the route has deleted. And now you can put the command do show route static. I don't have this. So 255 AD, don't give it. If you give the AD 255, then route will be deleted from your routing table. Okay. Apart from 255, you can give anything. You can even give the 90 as well. That's the reason for the EIGRP protocol. So if you're going to give the 90, it's fine. But don't give it in the production network. You can use in the practice purpose, you can use it. But because if you give in the production network with the 90 AD, and somehow in your network also EIGRP routing protocol is there, then it will create a problem. All good, guys? So now you can see that we have a 90 AD over there, right? And we are able to install. So always give the AD that is not used by any other routing protocol. In a practice, you can give anything, but in the production, always use the unused AD. All good, guys. So this is all about the floating static route. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you so much.